The Dark Psychology of Franklin Saint and Snowfall. This shit finna be crazy, yo. Best show I ever watched. It has to be. It has to be.
This
11 out of 10.
is Franklin Saint.
Come on now.
And if you've indulged in the series Snowfall, I think you'll agree with me that Franklin has one of those dark character arcs that become amusing to us.
Yo, his path was crazy.
Story of a regular
from season 1 to the very end, bro, the way he changed is
kid
crazy.
getting a taste of excessive money and power through the drug game, which transforms his characteristics negatively in order to increase his wealth. Snowfall is a great series because it doesn't just show us the life of Franklin Saint.
The money
It
changed
makes
him.
us feel it. After watching it, we feel like we know what it's like to be a drug dealer, to make a lot of money, and to make hard choices.
Yeah, he was
And our
living that
focus in
fast
this
life.
documentary is on the psychological aspect of Franklin's character, the problems he actually has from a scientific standpoint, and what there is to learn from the consequences of his actions. So allow me to take you through his story so far while I break down the psychological components that turned him from an innocent kid on the block to an evil drug lord, and answer the question, is Franklin Saint a
Dog, the
psychopath?
character development in this series was crazy as hell, bro. My life, bro. Like, in season 1, he couldn't even pull a trigger. Fast forward to season 6, the last season, dog, he was out here doing things you would never even imagine. Oh my god.
It made for people like us, so you know what? I'm rewriting the rules.
Franklin Saint gets introduced in 1983 as a 19-year-old black kid living in South Central LA. The traits he seems to possess are being ambitious and intelligent, someone with extreme potential. He graduates high school and gives university an attempt, but ends up dropping out. The initial problem that arises for Franklin is that he's misguided. Being a black working class man in this period, Franklin struggled to find purpose outside his neighborhood. Amongst his people, the narrative suggests that going down the educational route just equals an uphill battle against the white middle class when looking for good jobs and careers, which deters most from trying, resorting to either being an athlete or being on the streets. Franklin knows internally he's destined for greatness, but just feels like society isn't in his favor. He initially starts working in a grocery store while also selling cannabis for his uncle Jerome, making okay money, but not to the extent that really satisfies him.
And bro, I ain't even finna lie. When he tried to go to college, they was doing him dirty. You feel me? They was kicking him out because of his fees or whatever, and like they was talking about something like, oh, he didn't pay and he gotta pay. Like they was doing him dirty as hell. Like he tried. You feel me? I feel like he could have just. I don't even know. I don't like. There wasn't shit he could do at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like even if he came up with the money, like I feel like he already messed up too much, and they wouldn't have let him in. You feel me? Like I feel like they was just setting him up the whole time. You feel me? But
one day,
was crazy.
His white friend Rob tells him where he gets his coke from. A man named Avi. Franklin, being the ambitious kid he is, sees a potential opportunity to make more money due to the substance being a much higher price than what he's used to. So he approaches Avi and proposes that he's given a chance to impress.
Okay, front me your key. And I'll turn it around quick.
This was the start of everything.
How you plan on doing that?
I know people in my neighborhood.
They don't even know what cocaine is in your neighborhood, let alone have the money to afford it.
My people do. It could mean a whole new
That
client
shit
base
move
for
around fast in the
In
hood.
Franklin's mind, if he doesn't get rich somehow, he'll be stuck forever. So his determination at this point was incredibly high to do whatever it takes. Selling pure coke in Franklin's neighborhood wouldn't work well because poorer people can't afford it. And not long into his journey, he was beaten up and robbed for stealing a high-value customer.
That shit was
for
crazy,
$200.
cuz. That
But
shit
not
was
deterred,
wild.
he tries to branch out to different areas. And whilst in Oakland with his two boys, Leon and Kevin, Franklin finds out about crack cocaine, which they call rock, a more dangerous drug due to its potency and cheap price. But in Franklin's business mind, all he could see was dollar signs. So he learns how to cook up rock and brings it back to LA, where notoriety is being gained and respect is important. He engages in violence and killing for the first time in his life and appears uncomfortable, showing his lack of experience in the game. But now he's got his product,
I'm telling you, he
and he's got
changed
his
so
customers in
much
his
from
neighborhood.
season 1 to season
He's recruited
6.
for good into the
Bro.
drug world, and profits are his future.
He couldn't even eat, bro. He couldn't even pull a trigger in season 1. He couldn't even
Character
beat up on
Franklin
nobody,
comes into
bro,
contact
without,
with
you know what I'm
is Teddy
saying?
McDonald. Teddy is going to be an important character in this video as
changed
he
a lot.
displays the balance between Franklin and higher powers. When meeting Franklin, Teddy is a CIA agent whose aim it is to supply drugs into the USA and use the profits to fund a war against communism in
I ain't gonna
another
lie, I
country.
never liked
When
this
he meets
dude from the
Franklin, he
beginning, bro.
introduces him
I never
under
did.
fake alias,
I'm not gonna hold
Reed
you.
Thompson, and offers to become
never
his
did.
coke supplier, which Franklin takes and then gets his people to turn into rock and distribute at a cheap price around the neighborhood.
Like,
This
he
is
used
Franklin's
the
first
hell out of
major
him, bro.
issue. Of course, Franklin is desperate to reach financial success, but his plan now
Shit was
becomes to do
crazy.
it at the expense of his own people. The product Franklin is selling is highly addictive and ruins the lives of people who get hooked on it. But to him, that's just a cost of doing business. The fact he's willing to sacrifice other people's livelihood for his own financial gain is the first sign of narcissism in Franklin, which is extreme self-importance. But I feel it develops more as the story goes on, so we'll dive deeper into that soon. Franklin ensured the people recruited into his business to cook up the rock were close. His uncle Jerome, his aunt Louie, his two best friends Leon and Kevin, and his other friend Rob. This was to maintain trust within the business. The rest of the sellers
The
out
way
there
this
left
shit
to
fell
take the
apart,
risk
oh
and get
my
extra
god,
money.
bro.
One of them was Kevin's cousin Delroy, who ended up being murdered by a Mexican hitman for dealing on their
Shit was
territory.
wild.
After finding out, Kevin became unhinged. However, Franklin understood that the Mexican was well connected to gangs and retaliation would lead to a war, and made a logical decision to not retaliate. Kevin, being more emotional, didn't accept this and tried to end matters himself.
You gotta get that get
He
back.
gave away the recipe
got
for
to.
rock to Mexicans.
I don't know why
in
Franklin
exchange
tried
for
to
the
stop him.
location of the hitman, but as he went to fire the fatal shot, Franklin, in an attempt to stop him, shot Kevin in the leg, and he passed away due to blood loss. Being in the game has led to Franklin killing his best friend, ruining
Like,
his relationship.
even if you wanted to stop him, like, that's not the way. You feel me? Like, that's just not the way. Like, bro.
Mother,
Oh, man.
and now he's considering leaving it. Coupled with that, he gets arrested and thrown in jail, where he's brutally beaten up. At his deepest depths, almost given up, his best friend Leon gives him a speech to give him some hope.
I want you to listen to me. I've been where you at, but you gotta keep fighting, you hear me?
Yeah, man, of course.
Due to Franklin's connection with Teddy, he gets off the murder charge and free from prison. And Franklin connects.
You lucky he escaped that shit.
Who Teddy is, a CIA agent, but already deep in, decides to continue with the game and carry on his business. Going through the depths and struggles that he's now been through, we now have a darker, more heartless Franklin Saint, with only one goal on his mind.
Yeah, bro. Hey, he turned dark real fast, bro. From not even being able to beat nobody ass or pull
Franklin
no trigger.
knows that if he wants to make more money,
To what we
he
got in
needs to
season
increase his
4,
customer
3,
base.
5, 6.
He also needs to
Man.
be a more ruthless leader. Bigger business typically means more
He
profits,
started
and that
standing
doesn't
on
change
business in
Franklin.
chapter
His
3,
first issue
season
is
3.
Andre
Feel
Wright,
me?
a police officer
started
who
handling
also
his shit
happens
for
to be
real.
Franklin's neighbor and the father to Franklin's ex-girlfriend Melody. Yeah, tricky situation.
Bro, the way they did Melody in this show is, oh my god. From an innocent, maybe not innocent, you feel me, but from like a harmless kid to a straight junkie, bro. Oh
Franklin
man.
then acquires a place in the hills to stash his cash and important documents, but Andre and the police were hot on his tail, which was an issue Franklin had to be wary of. A second issue was that Franklin's repercussions of drug dealing were getting closer to home. Wanda, Leon's girlfriend, got addicted to rock, resulting in their relationship
God,
being
she
forced to
was
end.
the worst
Now
crackhead. I'm not
Melody
gonna
is
hold you.
also an addict. Franklin's ruthlessness
Wanda
prevailed after he got
is the
Leon to
worst.
execute a member of his crew for bringing attention to the cookhouse before police raided it. And due to Andre being too much of a threat to Franklin's business, Franklin also takes his life. Bringing back the idea of narcissism, Franklin shows signs of having malignant narcissism. This is someone who fantasizes about power and has a tendency to lash out if someone goes against their policies or plans, and they don't mind taking advantage of others to get what they want. These are traits that Franklin is starting to display, and these traits are signifying that Franklin is turning into a psychopath. Added with his lack of empathy and desensitization to killing, the assumption is turning more into a reality. Research suggests that these antics could
Bro,
be
it's
related
crazy
to
the long way
Franklin's
Franklin
business.
came,
There was a
bro.
book a couple of years ago exploring how many CEOs might have psychopathic traits. Perhaps there's something about power. Perhaps in
He
order to
started
get
as
to
the
that level,
underdog,
you have
and he
to
turned
not
out
care
to be
about
the
other
big
people.
dog,
You
you
have
feel
to
me?
demand a certain level of treatment and respect, and
shit
that's what
came crashing
narcissists do.
down,
It's-
dog.
Whilst doing my own research,
Shit was
I
wild.
found that 4 to 12% of CEOs display psychopathic tendencies, suggesting a correlation between Franklin's career choice and his psychology. But Melody managed
It's
to
all about
connect
the power
dots
and the
between her
money.
father's death and Franklin's movements that night, and as retaliation, shoots Franklin 3 times, leaving him for dead.
Bro, if she put one in his head, it would have been over, bro. It it would have been gone. Lights out just like that. Just a show, you know what I'm saying? Man. I'm telling you, bro. If this shit, wait, hold on, bro. Pause. If this shit was really like happened in real life, he would have been dead in like season 1. He wouldn't have never even made it to season 3. I'm telling you right now. If this shit was like a true story from the jump, he wouldn't have made it to. He would have probably died like season 2, season 3, or like late season 1. He wouldn't have made it that far at all. I promise you, bro. There's no way. There's just no way.
And despite having enough money to call it quits on the game after realizing the damage he's done and the problems that have come as a result, he feels he has a sense of duty to restore peace in his neighborhood after gang wars broke out whilst he was wounded. Scully and Manboy were the leaders of the Blood and Crip gangs and had gone to war over territories to sell their product. Franklin saw both of them as a threat to the business and had long-term plans to take both of them out, but kept them both close and acted as if they were civil partners. This manipulation of fake relationship for ulterior motives is another indication of psychopathic tendencies within Franklin. At first he sides with Manboy to try and kill Scully, which fails. Then Leon accidentally kills Scully's daughter, which also happens to be Manboy's niece. Now both of them put their issues aside and go to war against Franklin, along with Khadija, Scully's baby mother and Manboy's sister, who's put a bounty on Leon's head. They give Franklin an ultimatum to either give up Leon and continue business as usual, or protect Leon and go to war. Franklin has shown all of his psychopathic tendencies, and it wouldn't be a surprise for him to give up his friend for the sake of the business. But one of Franklin's key traits is being loyal to those who have been there from the start. In the war, Franklin displays his superior intelligence that I mentioned at the start, and manages to overcome Khadija and Manboy, and Scully retires from the war, leaving Franklin with no more enemies. However, another problem arises closer to home. His father, Alton, a figure that only recently came back into Franklin's life, fears for Franklin's safety due to him working with the CIA agent Teddy, and exposes the story to a reporter and puts Teddy's
he couldn't shut his mouth.
for Franklin's business in jeopardy, causing friction between them. Like I said, when I first introduced Teddy to the story, he's the only one who has power superiority to Franklin, and Franklin finds it a struggle to make things on his terms.
Like, he made shit worse.
He's so used to
I'm
having
not gonna
control
hold
of
you.
the people he works with. But Franklin overcomes this imbalance and stops Teddy from retaliating, and lets his mom and dad flee the country to Cuba. However, Teddy loses his job after getting exposed, and tracks Alton down and ends his life too, unbeknownst to Franklin, and now Franklin can focus on a much brighter future for the business.
Damn, bro. This shit's crazy.
Time goes by and Franklin finds a girlfriend, Veronique, who is pregnant with his child. In an attempt to increase his wealth legally, he now runs a major real estate firm and develops legit connections. However, he was still a drug kingpin. Franklin being in this relationship with Veronique and a child on the way motivates him to leave the game, but there's still loose ends that need tying. For one, Franklin has been given a replacement CIA officer, Brady, who was a lot more easygoing than Teddy, but wasn't performing to the expectations of the CIA. So Teddy returned, and despite Franklin being almost certain that he'd killed his father, proceeds to work with him as he feels he has no choice.
Damn.
Louis and Jerome, probably Franklin's most valuable partners in the business, now want to break away and run things separately. This would make business a lot worse for Franklin, and therefore he tries to stop them.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but everybody's got to answer to somebody. And me, I answer to the man who may have disappeared my father, and who will do the same to us if we don't move this product. Now, I don't know about y'all two, but I'd like to stay alive long enough to enjoy what I've made. So from here on out, I don't want to hear anything else about kilos or prices. Y'all want to go out on your own? Fine, but do not for 1 second around with what I gotta do to get mine, because I promise you, there is nothing I'm not prepared to do.
Leon also knows.
Yo, he was about his dollar for real, bro. Oh my god. He was about his dollar for real, cuz.
Franklin is that he believes because he
was not playing no games, he was standing on that shit.
It's okay to minimize the thoughts and opinions of other people and make choices for them. And for years now, he's had that control because he had the cash, and cash is king. Money is power. But now, things are starting to crack. Franklin feels uncomfortable and feels like he must go to extreme lengths to protect the business. So when he finds out that his longtime friend Rob was also addicted to the product and accidentally spilled out some information about the business, Franklin heartlessly takes his life too. Franklin had been running around with his bodyguard, Peaches, ever since he started making big money.
That boy
And the
Peaches
whole time,
was a
Peaches had been
snake from the
extremely
beginning,
loyal
bro.
to Franklin,
That's
to the point
crazy.
where Franklin even showed him where some of his money was stashed. However, he was unaware that Peaches had also become addicted to rock, and in a planned event, $5 million of his money was stolen, and Franklin and his family were shot at, all organized by Peaches, who had
That shit was wild. Peaches
all hits
folded on
Franklin
him like
hard.
crazy.
Jerome and Louis get married, but at the wedding, Scully dosed the chocolate with acid, making Franklin hallucinate and conversate with the old version of himself, which gives him the idle introspection that he needed.
You know, you fear. Let the worst thing Dad did come true for you. For us, that's bullshit. He never cared about anybody but himself. He said he was working for the people, but as soon as somebody crossed him, what'd he do? He threw them right under the bus. And here you are talking about the white man's ass when everybody gotta kiss your ass, or else. I help people. Help people. My God, you listen to yourself? God damn.
Franklin now realizes everything at once. He got into the game for himself and hurt a lot of people along the way. Lives ruined or lost. And he believed helping some people get rich at the expense of this justifies it. And this realization of this justification was enough for him to change. All his psychopathic traits start to fade at this point. He starts to feel empathy, starts to consider other people's choices more, and becomes less self-centered. But to hit Franklin hard while he's getting up, Louis went directly to Teddy
It was too late already, bro.
Franklin, just to get more
It was too late.
detrimentally affecting Franklin's business. Franklin contemplates and takes a step back to look at life. He sees the money he has, his future wife, an unborn child, and all of this leads to Franklin deciding he's done with the game. He confronts Teddy and tells him it's been a good journey, but he's got a family that he needs to prioritize. Franklin Saint had come full circle and became the man he needed to be, an empathetic soul finally. And yes, damage had been done, but at least he's changed for the better. But nothing could have prepared Franklin for what came next. Feeling betrayed by everyone, Franklin receives the biggest possible blow by Teddy as he empties Franklin's bank account, stealing $73 million in the process.
Yo, I would have
Leaving
crashed
Franklin
out.
not just broke,
I would have crashed
but
out.
dead.
Yo, imagine trusting somebody for so many years and they just do you like that, cuz take all your
Franklin
money,
tries
your
to ask Louis
M's.
for help, but she says it's not her issue, despite her being the reason that he's in this mess in the first place. Franklin now craves revenge against Louis, Jerome, and most importantly, Teddy. And how he deals with his vengeance is the story for the next video.
That shit was crazy, cuz. I'm telling y'all right now. Damn. Money will change you, bro. Y'all, I gotta watch out, man.